This is the Good Living segment, and my name is Dua Akomia. We are live on Prime Morning on Joy Prime, so I urge you to please get interactive with us on all our social media platforms. Now, this is the health segment. We talk everything health. Today, we are focusing on HIV. 2 weeks ago, we started a conversation with Dr. Vanessa Appiah, and she's here again, and I'm excited to see her again because it's always very, very enlightening, very eye-opening, very informative when she's on here to tell us all that we need to know. And so we want you to please be interacting with us in the show. We will open the phone lines for you to call in. We are focusing on HIV. We are doing our very best to make sure that the stigma that continues to, it looks like it's not really there, but it's there. People are still stigmatizing HIV, people living with HIV, and it's very disheartening, it's very heartbreaking. 2 weeks ago, Dr. Vanessa did mention that. And so what really can we do to make sure that we hit zero? Is that possible? You can call in a little later into the show to share your experience with us. If you live with HIV/AIDS, you can call us and let us know your experience. Or you know a relative, a friend who lives with HIV/AIDS, or you have some level of scare or fear when it comes to somebody you know living with HIV. Dr. Vanessa Appiah is here to teach you, to help us in relation to that, so you need not worry at all. Ladies and gentlemen, I have already mentioned her name. She's the CEO of the Accra London Health Centre. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you once more.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
After our conversation in relation to HIV, you really trended 2 weeks ago. You didn't know? Oh my God. You really taught us a lot. You opened our eyes a lot in relation to HIV. Now, I know that I think about 2 or 3 years ago, I chanced on somewhere that Ghana is currently, we are fighting, we are doing our best to make sure that by 2030, the level of infections of HIV/AIDS would be drastically reduced. Definitely. And then the question that I asked was, 2030, is that feasible? Can that be done? I mean, yeah. Because 2 weeks ago, you mentioned, yes, there are some people who still have their fear of even going to get tested because of the stigma that they know, that they are aware of. So I want us to carry the conversation on from there.
No. Yeah. So you bring up the 2030, and I think, targets are important because when you have a target, then it sets everyone's mind to it. Okay. And then you make decisions, you make plans to work towards it. Okay. But I think your fear and anxiety about will we get there, I think is fair.
Okay, thank you.
Because it's an aspiration, but an aspiration, we can still achieve it, or we can become very close to it. Okay. And I think that's the energy that we need to keep about it. You know, we've got 5 more years, and there's a lot we want to achieve in 5 more years. But for me, we have come so far with HIV. We've come far in terms of knowing that it exists and what it does to the body. We've come so far in the treatment that we have available, also in what we can do to prevent HIV. But the thing, which is why we're here talking, is the thing that hinders everything the most is stigma. Yeah. So as it stops people testing, it keeps people silent. When you are diagnosed and you are living with the infection and you can go on treatment and you can take treatment to live a better life, a life that you deserve, people don't, because they don't want to go into clinic. They don't want anyone to see their tablets. All these level of fear and shame affect someone's opportunity to live in good health. And so stigma is the thing that we can have all the treatment, all the education, but if we don't challenge stigma, we won't get to the target of 2030 or beyond.
Do you think that, 2 weeks ago, one of the major things that I was telling you, I was telling the viewers, was that, years ago, you're watching TV, and then the education that you're given about HIV/AIDS was very scary. You would see all these lean people, and there were so many things that was just making it very scary to watch on TV. And so it sort of like left an imprint in our minds. And a number of us have grown with it. And now it's become very difficult to deter or detach ourselves from what the imprints that, we had from years ago. Do you think that it was wrong with how HIV/AIDS was tackled years ago and how it was publicized?
You know, hindsight is always, you know, it's an easy thing, isn't it? Because when you look back, you know, we can think about COVID when we, at the very beginning, and how the messaging was and how we engage people. It wasn't optimal. But one of the things is because we were in fear, we didn't understand it, we didn't know. And it's the same thing with HIV. And so for me, if you look back, you know, 40 years ago to a time where you see people dying, you don't know what it is, but you know that it's to do with being transmitted through people, but you're not sure how exactly it is. Then you work out it's to do with sex. Then we have all these images about sex and what that does. So, you know, HIV was that melting point for everything that you're unsure about or you fear or shame comes there. That's what HIV represented. So I think the images, you know, I wish they didn't exist because it stays in people's minds, and that's the power of media. You know, that is the power. But I think what's really important is that we've had 40 years of memories of those campaigns. So we need a dedicated years and years to challenge those viewpoints, you know. We need conversations like this. We need images to show people that HIV has no face. You know, I say it again and again, you cannot look at someone and see that they are living with HIV. Years ago, the image of the lean, cachectic person with rashes, etc., that experience was because people were living with really advanced HIV. There was no treatment available. So what was happening is that people were shifting into that area of AIDS. So HIV is the virus. And so someone is living with the virus. Now, when you have advanced HIV, you've had it for many years, you're not on treatment, you can go into this sphere where your body is at risk of everyday infections and rarer infections as well. And when that happens, you go into a syndrome, which we call AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. But if you're living with HIV, it doesn't mean that you're gonna get AIDS. It doesn't mean you're gonna transcend there, because if you're on treatment and you're taking it and it's effective, then you won't go into that realm. But all our pictures are about advanced, untreated and unmanaged HIV. And so we need to shift that image to people like you and me sitting here, that HIV has no face and it can affect anyone. And that's what we need to get out there.
So now, I'm actually, I'm excited with what you just mentioned, because it looks like the stigma, the fear, all of that we've had all these years in relation to HIV is rather in relation to AIDS. The advance, you know, HIV advancing into AIDS. So when it comes to HIV, what are we? So there's nothing, absolutely nothing for us to be scared about when it comes to HIV. Let me put it that way.
No, I think that's such an important question. So any diagnosis affects us. Okay, and any thing that we acquire that can affect our body can affect us and how we live, etc. So when I talk about it, and you know, people listening and watching, you know, thinking that, you know, I'm living with HIV, and don't underestimate, you know, don't minimize it. This is something serious. I don't minimize it. But what I say is that we know what HIV is, and we know how we can treat it, and we know that there is effective treatment. We don't have a cure at the moment, but we're working towards a cure. But what we have is a kind of functional cure, in the sense that you're diagnosed, we manage you, you're on treatment, your level of your virus can be up here and it can be affecting your body and causing you to be at risk of other infections. But then with treatment, the level of virus can go to 0. So when it goes to 0, at that point, you can't pass it on to anyone sexually. You know, it's controlled, and you're keeping it at bay in your body, so that someone who's living with HIV on effective treatment and having the monitoring that's needed, they can have the same life expectancy as someone not living with HIV. And that is really powerful. So I emphasize that, because the image of HIV has been so warped. And it's not through anyone's fault, but that's why we're here, to just challenge that and change it and remove those images of HIV. Definitely goes to advanced HIV and AIDS, and that is it. There is a story in between that we can influence. Speaking about the image of HIV being warped, so we have a video to show. So and this is just something, you know, some of us are trying to just go down memory lane. Yeah, what we remember, what we know, how greatly the media contributed to what we know about HIV, and this has left an imprint in our minds, in our brains, that a number of us just cannot, you know, do away with that. So let's take a look at this and let's see how best, currently or now, if something like this can also be implemented one way or the other to help curb all these thoughts that we have in relation to HIV. These were some of our A-list stars at that time, come together as the All-Stars to educate the country about HIV. And through their raps and their lyrics, they were educating us, you know, on the symptoms, and, you know, it was very interesting at that time. So that's an example. That's just one out of the many. Yeah, but it's funny. You've just given me this memory. I'd completely forgotten ever saying that. Yeah. But it's interesting because I respect what they were trying to do, because you need to infiltrate all parts of society. And, you know, having a song that sticks in your head, you know, is really powerful. And having your favorite thing there, you know. It's the power of influences that we have now. But I think that the thing is, when we do things like this, we have to work with everyone to make sure that the lyrics are giving the information that we want to give. That's what I was going to get to. Because language is powerful, you know? So even when you, like, I don't think any of the artists do, but even when you use words of like dirty and this and clean versus dirty, you know, that language will stick in someone's mind. So if anyone has any type of infection, they'll think, I'm dirty. And that's not where to go, you know? There's nothing about being clean or dirty. You have an infection that needs managing. And there are many people in the world that have a similar experience to you. But for songs and, you know, comments to be catchy, they have to say things to kind of trigger. So it's about working with influencers to get the language right, so that we remove any stigmatizing language as we want to educate people. All right, so I'm still here with Dr. Vanessa Appiah, and we are talking about HIV. We are hoping and praying that we will get to the point where there will be zero stigma. That's what we are championing. That's what we are going for. That's the goal. And so please, I urge you to, the phone number will be put on your screen pretty shortly, where you can call in and share your experience. Either you have HIV and you have been experiencing stigma, you know, you have family, friends, and loved ones who do not want to come close to you, regardless of the level of information or education out there about HIV, or you have a relative or a neighbor, a friend, a loved one who has HIV, and you have some fear that you do not know exactly whom to speak to about this. Dr. Vanessa Appiah is here, and so can we have the phone number on our screens so our viewers can pick it and call into the show? Dr. Vanessa, so now, currently, what are some of the ways, because the talks, the education, we've been doing our best. On Prime Morning, we did, I mean, just like what we are doing now. We've been doing our best. Over the years, we've been trying and pushing and championing this, and it looks like the fear is still there. The stigma is still there. What could we be possibly doing wrong? And what can we do better or right? I think one of the key things is keeping the conversations going. Because, you know, someone will be listening and then they'll hear more about it and they'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that. Then they will either keep it to themselves or they may go and tell someone about it. But shifting mindsets it's a massive task. And so the only way we shift mindsets is by being relentless and having action. And, you know, that's why we have, you know, yesterday, July 21st was Zero HIV Stigma Day. And that was a day that was created by an organization in the UK, NAS, to work with organizations globally to say that let's eradicate HIV stigma. HIV stigma has no place. But you think, gosh, 40 years down the line, do we really need a day to remind people and call people to action. And the thing is that we do, you know? And so for me, it's doing the education consistently in schools, in communities, you know, start young.
Yeah.
You know, challenge mindsets young.
Yes.
And say that, so that if there is someone that's living with HIV in school, that they feel that they can go and tell the school nurse.
Dr. Vanessa, please hold on.
Yeah.
We have Adam calling from Accra. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for calling in. What do you want to say?
I just want to say that this stigmatization is a serious thing because I am a victim, my kids, even my own people, nobody wants to see us. So we have just packed ourselves somewhere, praying to God that one day we'll get out of this.
Adam,
because I got this from my husband, my late husband. He died. And it was not an easy thing.
Oh, Adam, how long have you been living with this?
For, I would say, 16 years now.
16 years. And you mentioned your kids. Is it that your kids are also positive?
No. They are negative by the grace of God.
Okay, great. So where's your husband at the moment?
He is gone. He's dead.
Oh, so sorry to hear that. Our condolences.
At the point, he refused to take the medication.
Okay. Was there any reason in particular?
You said?
Was there any reason in particular that he was refusing to take the medicine?
I think when it gets to a time, you don't even feel like taking the medication anymore.
Okay.
Because I'm also going through the same thing. Sometimes I don't feel like taking it. But seeing my kids, that keeps me going that I shouldn't stop taking it.
True.
Because I'm the only one left for them.
Yeah.
I have family, but I don't have any family. So I think this message should always go, it should go far.
Yes.
Because even the educated, the way they behave, sometimes a sister of mine said that we have educated illiterate. People that are educated, but they are still illiterate. Yes, theirs is even worse. Those who call themselves educated, they are educated. Theirs are even worse.
Oh my!
Because my family, they are scholars. But it's not an easy thing.
Adam, we are so sorry to hear this. And that's the reason that we are having this conversation, because we are hoping that one day this stigma will totally and completely stop. It breaks my heart that you're experiencing this, especially with the people that you need in this crucial moment of your life. But please do not cut the call, okay? We will pick your number. Would you want to join us on the train to, zero stigma when it comes to HIV? Would you want to?
I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be an ambassador.
Great,
but
beautiful.
Because of my kids.
Okay.
I'm always holding back.
You need not worry at all. We'll find a way to sort everything out beautifully, and we'll find a way also to give you the necessary help. Dr. Vanessa Appiah is here, so Doc, if you want to ask her anything.
No, definitely. Okay. So, Adam, first of all, thank you so much, because, to have people come out and talk about their experience, there is no more powerful way to challenge this. I can come here, I come here in my capacity of working and caring for people and understanding, but I'm not walking in your shoes, Adam. So the fact that you've come on and been open, I salute you and I thank you for that, number one. Number two, I say I'm sorry because I think it's important to acknowledge what you've been through and what you're going through. I'm sorry because society fails us, and they fail us because what you need is love, compassion, and just being allowed to live your life. You know, even if you don't want someone to give you the love and compassion, let you be. And sadly, that isn't the case as we're hearing. But there are things that have failed, but there are systems there and organizations and clinicians that are here to support you. And sometimes that message of the organizations and the services doesn't always get to the right people.
That's true.
So Edem, I would love to get your number and to speak to you after this. Number one, to see where you're getting the support, because what you said about not wanting to take treatment, you are not alone. And I say that to anyone that's watching and listening that is living with HIV, you know, taking treatment for a lifelong course, for anyone who's got hypertension, diabetes, etc., it's difficult. You know, there's most days you're like, okay, I can do it. But sometimes you just get tired. Sometimes the fear and stigma just plays so much on you that you don't prioritize that. And again, there are people that are here to support you to make those decisions and support you. So every day you can think, I can do this, you know?
All right, Edem, so are you still on though, Edem?
Hello.
Yes, Edem, so we've got you, okay? You need not worry. We'll take your number, so kindly do not cut the call. We'll take your number. Dr. Vanessa up here will directly get in touch with you and then have more conversations with you on this, okay? So thank you so much for calling in to share your experience with us. We appreciate you. We don't take you for granted at all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, viewers, so I'm in studio with Dr. Vanessa up here, and we are talking. We are hoping and praying that we get to zero stigma when it comes to HIV. And we just had our first caller. You can also call in and share your experience with us. Is there anything that you would want to add on to this conversation? We are open for that as well. Doc, this breaks my heart on all levels.
It does. And, you know, it's why we do this and why I'm so passionate, and the people that I work with are so passionate about it. But I have such respect for her because this is what we need. We need to humanize it. You know, stigma is human-made. So we can unmake it, you know, we can dismantle it. And we need to work with people that are walking in those shoes to get the right stories out there. So that when we work with influencers and singers, etc., they can share those stories, different ways of storytelling and educating. But her story is not unique. That's the thing we need to recognize. Many people living with HIV are living a dual life. So, and I talk about this a lot. So when people come into clinic, you know, you'll see them, they will discuss everything, talk about the diagnosis.
Okay. Doc, yeah, we have another caller on calling us from Kumasi. JB, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, JB?
How are you?
We are doing okay. Thank you for calling. What do you want to share with us?
I got a little bit of suggestion to say that mine is different from what Eden said.
JB, can you please reposition yourself and speak audibly, speak louder for me so we can hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, good.
Okay, I said my story is a bit different from from Eden's story.
Okay.
You see, I got married in 2020, and then my wife got sick, and then I took her to hospital. Then the doctor asked me to come and do a fertility lab or something. That is where I discovered that my wife is positive.
Oh.
But then I went and checked the next morning, Tuesday. That was before the lab. Then I found that she was.
Oh, the line is breaking. The line is breaking. JB, please put. Yes.
I said, then I discovered she was tested positive since 2017.
Okay.
And we got married in 2020. But then, thank God, I was negative. I don't know how, because we never got intimate until I got married to her, because I believe as a Muslim I have to do the right.
Wow.
But then the saddest part is, you see, I supported her in everything that she does, from the counseling to the medication that she takes. I mean, a man that loves his wife, I loved my wife so dearly.
Oh.
I love her with everything that I have. But then one day I asked her, if I were the one who tested positive, will you stay? She just smiled and then moved till today. So you see, this thing of fear and everything, I have it because sometimes even when we had intimate, when I use her protection, and she would start crying, when is she going to have her own kids? Then I took the risk. Whatever's going to happen should happen.
Oh.
And then she got pregnant. But so when we went back to the doctor, and the doctor, I don't know if I'm permitted to mention the doctor's name, he's at Militia District Hospital.
Okay.
Dr. Blanchard, he said, are you crazy or what? I asked you to wait for at least 6 or 8 months. And now your wife is pregnant. You can also be tested positive. Then they give me medication. But my issue is when they give me the medication, when I take the medication at night and I start having this stomach cramp, then I decided I'm not going to take the medication again. Until today, I stopped taking the medication. So you see this thing of stigmatization.
But you don't have it. You don't have it.
I'm still negative.
Okay.
I'm still negative. But my worries are the kids. Because we don't have a guarantee that the kids that we are going to have are all going to be negative. And you see, one thing about if it's a man that got it, sometimes the woman doesn't stay. But if it's a woman, like even the counselors will tell you, be patient with it.
I would say you were a good man. You love your wife.
This is my main problem. Because when you sit alone and think about it, you're like, I'm sacrificing for someone who would have not done the same to me.
Oh. JB, you know something? Please don't cut the call. Production will take your number. We will call you and have in-depth conversation with you on this, and we'll give you the required help, okay?
Sometimes my wife can look at me and say,
oh.
Can you imagine?
JB, thank you. Thank you for calling to share your story with us. Please don't cut the call. I'm pleading with you. Don't cut the call, okay? My producer is going to take your number. And then, thank you so much. Oh, my goodness. Today, Doc, unfortunately, we have just 1 minute to go. So please just, give us a final submission on this, and there we go.
I think all there is to say is that, again, JB, thank you for sharing, and we'll speak to you. But these conversations matter, and they're much, much needed. There is so much stigma, uncertainty, fear, shame, lack of knowledge, and we need to change that, because everyone living with HIV or people affected by HIV, whether they're as a partner or family member, there is no place for stigma. Everyone deserves to live their best life in good health.
In good health.
And not to be dictated by others in society. So let's challenge that, let's change this. These people's stories, they're going to sit with us today, days onwards, weeks onwards. So let's do something about it.
We'll definitely do something about it. We are all going to champion this good cause. The stigma has to stop. And that's a wrap, guys, for today. Dr. Vanessa, we'll call you again for in-depth conversation, because we have to continue this.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And then, get into contact with some of our people. I mean, both of them who called.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dua Akomi, and that's it for today's edition of Prime Morning. Thank you all for joining today's edition. We're coming away again tomorrow at 6 a.m.